I'm David.
I'm Morgan.
I'm Caden.
And I'm Ranulfo.
Okay, so just a brief overview of Brazil. Um, Pretty much Brazil is located in South America, like many of us know. Its main language is Portuguese, and they're big fans of soccer. They've won like 5 World Cups, and they're very proud of their World Cups. Also, Brazil's landscape is very different. They have the Amazon rainforest, they have wetlands, drylands. They just have a bunch of diverse areas within their region. Other things are they have a lot of variety in the animals they have there. They have over 100,000 different types and species of animals, and also based off of the land that they have, their agriculture is a big part of what they do in their economy, along with the services they provide. So they also provide like building aircrafts and steel and stuff like that. You can go next. Some of the key characteristics of Brazil within their business are I looked up some of the ratings they have, and it's considered a C rating for risk. So it's considered a higher risk than a lower risk. This is because Brazil has many unknowns based off of their economic and political sides. This creates problems with businesses because they don't know what's going to go on in the future or what might come with them. Another thing is they have an A4 rating in their business climate, and that just means that it's basically opportunity. So the opportunity is there in Brazil. It's just a lot of unknowns that business owners might not want to take the risk on. Some of the strengths they have are they have strong resources and agriculture, as well as they have diverse industries. So they have a lot of industries within their region. Some of the weaknesses they have is low levels of investment and low foreign trade, leading to high cost of products. So the low level of investment, not many people put money into Brazil, which is why they have a bad economy and they're in poverty. And the low foreign trade is, well, they don't trade much at all with other countries around them. So that's pretty much how that goes. Go next slide. Three socioeconomic issues are in Brazil are COVID-19, high emissions, and high poverty rate. So COVID-19 has become a big problem for them because they didn't deal with it right away. The second wave has come and it's hitting them stronger than ever. It's hitting their economy. Many people are just suffering from it. That also comes with the high poverty rate because with COVID-19 coming and staying for the most part where they are, schools are shutting down, and that means kids aren't able to go to school, and that affects mostly people in poverty and areas in poverty because the schools aren't able to afford not having the kids in school and not getting that money from that. Also, the high emissions. Brazil, due to like different things with the Amazon rainforest, the deforestation. Brazil is looking to use the forest to create energy and just have different things like that. And okay, that next slide, sorry. Historical issues and globalization. So Brazil has two big multinational companies, as long as with others, but the main ones that I found were Nestle and Coca-Cola. Coca-Cola and Nestle entered in 1904 and 1921 respectively, and some of the challenges they had was Nestle was a small company that started with condensed milk products, and that was just the start for them because they began to just grow and then eventually become more of a chocolate company and spread throughout that. And Coca-Cola really didn't have any big challenges within them because when they entered the market in 1904, that was the first year that Brazil had introduced soft drinks into their country. And so Coca-Cola just thrived off of that and began to become big within their country. Go next slide. International trade and economics. So Brazil does not trade a lot with other countries. They have a 25% of their GDP is based off of the trading, which is a very small amount compared to other countries. And they are considered the least open country in the world. Just they pretty much keep to themselves, and that might not always be the best thing in the world, just because they are vulnerable, because they try to stay in how do I explain this? They just try to stay with resources that are within their country, but they don't have everything. Next slide. Okay, so the World Trade Organization, the International Monetary Fund, and the World Bank. So for Brazil, they participate in the World Trade Organization mainly through crops, exporting crops such as rice, soybeans, and sugarcane. Their economy is built off of agriculture and services, so that's how they fit into the World Trade Organization. Their main imports are manufacturing items, which makes sense because of their servicing products. Um, uh, the IMF, the International Monetary Fund, has been helping Brazil with the economics and poverty because before COVID, so the IMF is pretty much they fund different things within. Oh shoot. No, that's the World Bank. Sorry. Dang it. Okay, restart. The IMF has been helping Brazil with its economy and poverty before COVID. Before COVID hit, it looked promising, but now they don't look so good. Things need to change in order for things to improve. Um, and as for the World Bank, they provide money to Brazil to help them fund programs and agencies. One of these is the Amazon Sustainable Landscape Project, and they just try to help the Amazon rainforest and deforestation. Next slide. Currency. So the exchange rate for Brazil is not very good. And this just goes to show that their economy is bad, and the money they use isn't really valuable in other countries if they were to try to make trades or exchanges and stuff like that. And a strong currency would be important for Brazil just because it helps them in the long run. It would help their economy move up. It would help them with trade. And Brazil's currency is all towards the bottom anyway, so they need all the help they can really get. And Brazil does not have a strong currency, meaning there's money that doesn't have much value, and it would benefit Brazil just because they would be able to do more international business. Next slide. Okay.
Okay, so for the entrepreneurship side of things, with the low poverty rate in Brazil, a lot of schools are shutting down and not returning due to COVID. It's just a lot worse there. And so technology is needed to solve these issues within the country. So I come up with either doing like an online learning platform, providing more books, better training for teachers, and more classroom improvement would just help increase access to education in Brazil, which would just better their economy overall. And knowledge would allow for low poverty countries as they need help finding more access to education. And this would give us an understanding on how to work with them and improve their country. Sustainability efforts can be made through donating used books from America to Brazil, or use technology and providing them with the tools to have access to the supplies that we do. Next slide. Okay. And this is the Hofstede's 6 things. I'll explain on the next slide. So through looking at this chart, all these characteristics would influence how we lead and influence the country, and it shows how the country operates. It can be seen that Brazil is different than the United States, but pretty similar. The main things that they differ on are that the United States really values individualism, where Brazil values teamwork more. And then for the power distance, the United States doesn't really care about hierarchy. They're more just like everyone has a voice, but Brazil, they really value the hierarchy and like a pecking order in the workplace. So just taking a look at these would just allow us to understand how to like adapt to their way that they work. Next slide. And then some challenges and opportunities. The challenge would be adjusting to the culture and the differences than what we're used to. An opportunity would be to develop a team dynamic and adjust to the values that they hold that we're not used to. So we can learn from them, but also teach them something with the things that we're good at. And then another thing is just getting used to their enthusiasm and also being relaxed, but not on a specific schedule. Um, and the benefits to this are learning how to trade with Brazil and operate business with them.
So for communication and negotiation, Brazilian culture has been influenced by both native Brazilian and African forces. It's also been heavily affected by Western cultural influence. Brazilians are very open and friendly. This is reflected in the way that they interact with others. When in conversation, they will be animated and engaged. Interruptions and interjections are not entirely considered rude in their culture. Physical contact, such as like touching arms, back pats, handshakes, and shoulder touches, as well as like close physical proximity, like in conversation, is really common. Um,
International marketing in Brazil. So the main components basically in Brazil is to have a good, promising and durable product in the market. You can't go over the price with the price since it is a working economy. A good place would be Rio de Janeiro. That's a place where a lot of people market their items, such as where Apple markets their phone and things like that. And promotion, Brazil has a wide span of people online and they have a lot of digital users. So when it comes to promoting online, it's a great way for businesses, but they also have to be aware of the corruption and the bribery because it is still a serious obstacle in Brazil. And marketing through the internet is their best way since 91 million people are online and it is the fifth nation ranked in the world with digital users. Next slide. The rule and law of ethics, legal compliances, new businesses in Brazil must have at least one director or at least two shareholders. According to the Companies Act, these individuals can be of any race, reflecting Brazil's movement towards FDI. And basically, employers also have to require lunch allowances, insurance, dental benefits, grant savings, and as well as checkups. And when it comes to corruption in Brazil, a lot of businesses kind of look at that because even the presidents have been involved in corruption themselves and have gone to jail for such thing. And intellectual property, trade conventions have a major impact on Brazil's intellectual property and compliances. Brazil also established a regulatory system that protects intellectual property in any of its aspects. Next slide.
So for our business organization and our entry strategy, the future technology that I focused on is this mobile classroom. So basically, it's an entire online classroom in a box that can be used at like these schools in Brazil, just to give those kids access to like online learning and online videos such as that. So we have partnered with Microsoft to design a portable tech hub for our classrooms across Brazil. The tech hub is made of a rugged suitcase style crate that houses 40 Surface tablets that children will be able to use to access learning programs in fields such as English, mathematics, and sciences. Our entry method into Brazil will be using the export strategy. This is when an organization based in one country exports its products into another. We will create a geographic organizational structure by using Microsoft Brazil team. That's the name of the team that we're going to create. Using Microsoft's massive infrastructure of manufacturing and tech maintenance teams, we will be able to successfully bring our new mobile classroom units into Brazil to foster education. Pros of exporting include economies of scale and increased margin because of manufacturing, increased market diversity, and a decrease in single market, like because you're less dependent on like the market that it's in, and so there's like more markets, so it's good for that reason. And cons include increased administration costs, as well as overall increase in wage costs, loss of control because of distance. Challenges associated with entering a new market include like when you move into a new culture, there's language barriers, new norms, and customs. Microsoft should not consider a new organizational design overhaul because they're too big of a company, and it would not be an efficient use of capital and time.
So for the three takeaways, one of the three takeaways was that I wasn't really aware that the nation had a lot of people online, and about 85% of Brazilians are on the internet literally every day. They have about 4 or 5 social media accounts each, and Brazil tries to have the internet access to everybody and around the world. Another thing was how Brazil's large economy allows businesses to thrive when it comes to marketing online, especially since the public's access to free internet is almost anywhere. And in Brazil, there's this thing called Brazil price, where things that like here in California, well, Arizona in general, the iPad will go for around 500, where in Brazil it goes for 1,100, which is crazy, and that's why they label it Brazilian price. Next slide.